So this is a training on two new updates we have for the DFRS software that collects DOE25s. So as the fiscal year DOE25, fiscal year 26 DOE25s are coming in, these are two new things you'll see. So validations which have existed in past years has been expanded. So after you upload your DOE25 right here, and by the way, I'm in our test environment and I have admin roles, so your screen's going to look different than mine. But you upload your DOE25 file and you upload it, and then you'll see some validations. And so I made the DOE25 have a lot of errors in it. Uh, so it triggered a lot of errors. And so the changes we've made in our validations is now we have a color system. So red is an error, orange is a severe warning, and then yellow is just a warning. And so we kind of go through what the way we're thinking about this is errors are something we return automatically. So if your adequacy is incorrect, if your general fund balance doesn't match the starting balance doesn't match the prior year's ending balance, um, if that's the case, you need to make have them match, and then you need to make an audit adjustment. Looks like another thing we've made is now this color system, and we have it organized by errors, severe warnings, and yellow warnings. We also tell you where to look. We now have more of the supplemental tabs are now part of the validation. So we have the DOE25 tab, which is the DOE25 tab right here. We also have validations on food service, salaries and benefits, indirect costs, school level. So all these different tabs now have some validation in here. And so um, the person who uploaded this, you would want to fix these issues. If you don't understand these errors and you can't figure out that, this is giving you some direction on where to go to salaries and benefits tab. Most BAs who have done a DOE25 are going to be familiar with how to solve this. Basically, go to the tab. Oh, it's a 1400 error. So basically, I didn't fill in the 1400 section of the salaries and benefits tab. Go ahead and fix these. The severe warnings are things that maybe we don't automatically return it, but we kind of want to have a conversation with you about it, or we want to know more about it. So this one, the DOE, your food service, this is probably going to get returned. This is probably an error. Your 50% drop in food service expenditures. We can't say automatically return it. However, if you close down a school and food service decreased dramatically, that could be the cause for it. So you'd want to say, shut down a school, tuitioning those students out. We're not feeding those students anymore. That could be the reason for a 50% decline in food service expenditures. But we'd want an explanation of that. And it might be obvious. It might be very obvious. Like we might look at the DOE25 and go, yeah, you closed down a school. That would, of course, change your food service expenditures. But just to make a note of it, close down school, XYZ, close down, school X. This impacted, this led to a decrease in food expenditures. Tell us what's going on here so we know that. Same with this, this one IDA revenue. Basically, GMS has, X amount of dollars in IDA revenue, and you're showing on the DOE25 something that is substantially different than it. So we do want you to make sure you're looking at this more than just clicking the acknowledge button. But I reviewed IDA revenue, and my numbers are correct. So basically, you're just telling us this because we would be asking you about this. Okay, are you sure those are your IDA numbers? It seems to be a lot different than GMS. So basically, just saying that you are looking at this, you're acknowledging this. School level tab changing by 30%. That might be it might be growing by 30% because one school closed, and so the school took on those students. So that would be the reason. But you'd want to explain that. Give us some information about that, and then we could, something we're not going to be able to notice. It's going to be helpful if you put it in the notes tab, because otherwise we're going to want to have a conversation with you, and so it could speed things up if you document everything in the notes tab. Warnings, the yellow warnings, tuition expenditures changed by 25%. This is where you just acknowledge it. As you're sort of acknowledging these, you've seen that this is an error. Hopefully you did it correctly. Hopefully, you might want to just look at it and did tuition expenditures really go up over 25%? You know, what was the cause of that? A lot of volatility in this expense function. Again, you know, you want your DOE25 to be accurate. We want your DOE25 to be accurate. We're not going to, reject a DOE25 because we see 25% change in expenses. But if you did do it incorrectly, maybe we're going to look at this now and say, okay, it's actually not, it's over 25, it's actually 75 or 50%. Yeah, that's questionable. So, we're going to look at the DOE25 and look at these, and we're going to potentially ask you questions. If it's no, we're not going to let this slide. We really need to know what's going on here because it really does look incorrect. So this just gives you clues. This just gives you a heads up. Some of the stuff we will just basically allow you to just sort of acknowledge. If your budgeted principal amount, typically you budget, you know what your principal costs are going to be. So typically you can budget that exactly. So that's off, but that's probably not, we're going to look at it ourselves as well. We're probably not worth returning it, and maybe not even be worth having a conversation with you, unless it looked like you totally missed that number. Then we would want to maybe have a conversation about that. So this is just the new validations. You can do it by orange warning severity, red, orange, yellow, or you can work your tool and just say, I'm going to focus on the DOE25. Now I'm going to focus on indirect cost. I'm going to work on salaries and benefits, then school level. Also, if you want to see all the errors that you passed, bunch of green errors in here that you can notice as well. So that's, but we want you to focus on these things that we're flagging in our validation. Again, these business rules are not perfect. They're meant to stop a lot of errors, but we're going to have, you're going to have to use your information about what's going on in the DOE25 to really check to see if these are really triggering something that's serious or not. And so same with us, we're going to be looking at your DOE25 by hand, but a lot of this has been automated, which is going to be nice. So you can clear a lot of these errors before you approve them, before you send it in. So that is the changes to the validations. The other change we have is this messaging system. So this messaging system here, we're going to send you messages via this. You can send us messages via this. So in this situation, say you clear up a lot of these red errors here, you clean up these ones, but you're still kind of stuck on one of these. Like you're not sure, for whatever reason, you're not sure what this is pointing to. What do you mean school level expense tab line 10, 30% change in last year? Well, it's this is what it's referring to. It's referring to line 10 here on the school level tab. So if that's tripping you up and for whatever reason you want to send us a message relative to your DOE25 for this district, go ahead and use the message and inquiries feature. And so you could do it for something like, I have a question about this. And if you want to do that, and it's just this is really meant for easy questions. If you had a DOE25 that's really, really has a lot of errors in it, and if you're a new BA, I would say, let's have a conversation via email, via phone, so we can actually deal with a lot of issues. But if it's just one single issue, I think this system's going to be the way to go. So you could ask a question about school level expenditures, tab error, severe warning that you're not fully understanding. You can do it through the system. You could deal with multiple issues through this. It doesn't. I would say some issues, if you have a lot of issues with your DOE25, maybe not the messaging and inquiry system to go with. Maybe just go with an email. But you can probably resolve a lot of your issues through this system. And the way that we really envision this working is, one of the issues we have is we probably we get a lot of DOE25s approved. So to say, let's DOE25 is approved, you've cleared all the validation errors. We've acknowledged them all. We agreed. We looked at it. We approved it because we felt like everything was addressed. However, you now need to change your DOE25 because you had a change in your retained fund balance, which is probably the most common reason. Is basically you got the DOE25 approved, like we all want, and we want you to get that done as quick as possible. As accurately and as quick as possible. But your school board voted to finalize what the retained fund balance is going to be. So this would be a good thing to message us. So it looks like I already did it here, and I was testing this out earlier. But create new inquiry. Create new inquiry. And you're going to go retain fund balance change. So you go, you would say, please return, you don't have to say that. We're going to know what you mean. Please return the DOE25 retain fund balance is now 150,000. Please take transfer or please move the money from UFB. And so we'll know that, pretend maybe you had 0 in there. Maybe you had 100,000 in there. So you probably had 100,000 in there, but the board voted maybe, board just voted last night. So this little move here, you basically, say you had $100,000 in there, and you can tell us, is now 150 from 100K. However you want to explain this to us, it's going to be obvious to us, or hopefully you make it obvious to us, so we don't have to ask you any questions. But please return the DOE25. The balance is now 150, was 100. Move the money from UFB. So we know that we need to move $50,000 from UFB into the retained fund balance. You've documented that for us. So you can go ahead and send that inquiry. So now you're asking to make that adjustment. Now you have an approved DOE25. So when you have an approved DOE25, you can't upload over that. You can't. This is in progress. But this was if this say this is approved. Now we're going to go in here and we're going to be able to manage this. We're going to be able to go to this would say pending message. We get to see what the pending messages are. So now we're going to go in here and you can't return it because the super has not seen it yet, but we can respond to this inquiry. Basically what we're going to probably do is we're going to download the DOE25 that's already been approved, and we're going to make that move, make that tiny little move there, that $50,000 move. But we're going to respond to this inquiry and say, there's no questions. This is very obvious to us what you're trying to do here. New DOE25 has been new DOE25 has been uploaded with the new retained fund balance. We're going to send that, and you're going to get that message. Just to cover our bases, we will likely send you the downloaded DOE25 that we've edited for you. Well, one, so you don't have to download it yourself. We're going to send you, here's the DOE25 approved with a new retained fund balance. We'll email that to you. You're still now going to get your MS-25. You're going to have to print that out. You're going to have to redo your cover sheet with the new amount that changed in the balance sheet. So you still have more work on your end, but the DOE25 is approved. We don't have to do the sending it back through the system for this one little edit. So it's going to make things a little bit easier, we hope. And we'll be able to kind of keep information contained in here instead of things getting buried in emails. So I think it's good to work quicker. This is all new, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll hopefully better improve the workflow. And that's it. Thank you.